let's say you did a big project and you got a big, a good enough income. That's when you could use this money to invest in people that would help you work on other projects.
I see.
And that's what I've been doing as well. I only hire people depending on the contracts I get.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a contract that, let's say, sorry for talking numbers, but that we're giving random numbers. Let's say I got a project for $20,000. Okay, and I know that the project would take me 3 months to work on. Okay, so I actually hire people for a 3 months contract to help me with the project. I'm talking about an architectural project. I hire 3 people for, let's say, $1,000 per month, and then you can get the project done with $6,000. This is where you can focus on other things. You get these people to work on the project. You focus on them. You should monitor them. You should follow up with them, and then you focus on something else. But you have to put the foundations of the first project that you're working on. You have to at least sign or get the first payment of the first project, first business that you're working on, or else everything else is useless.
Tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. We're getting callers, dude. We're like whatever, like a talk show now.
How's everything from your side?
We're having a good time, dude. I'm loving it, dude. I'm having a great time, especially with this podcast, and it's good to reach out and connect to you, Joe. How was your day?
My day was actually really exciting.
Oh yeah?
I had a long month and a long week working. So I took Saturday and Sunday as an escape weekend.
Yeah.
So I had someone. Is that recorded, by the way?
We are being recorded. We might toss this. We might not toss this. We can cut things out if you really want us to. But
no. So actually, I took a quick escape to Sur. You know Sur?
Oh, of course.
It's in the south, on the beach.
Yeah.
So I took
yeah.
Huh?
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So I took a room with a balcony and stuff like that for a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back from Sur around 12 o'clock, all the way to Jbel. So I drove around 2 hours and a half to have lunch with my family. And then now I'm going back to Beirut because I have work tomorrow. So yeah.
Amazing. All right. Wow, Joe, that sounds great. We were just talking about that specifically, actually, before you came on. We were talking about you're really like a efficient guy. You get a lot of things done. How important is it to take breaks from your work for you?
Actually, I'm a workaholic person. So whenever I'm working or whenever I'm actually on an escape, all I think about is work. So this is why you won't be able to see it. But I have my laptop with me as well. So I took my laptop with me. So it's actually really important.
Yeah, speaking about that, since you said you're a workaholic, what time during the day, and whether it's day or if it's at night or it's during the day, what time do you find it where you put in the most efficient amount of work, or you get the most work done for yourself?
Usually it was at night.
Okay.
Usually I used to focus a lot at night. So this is when no one is asleep, no one's calling you anymore, and this is where you can focus. But I used to be a night owl, by the way. But I used to work a lot between 12 and 4 a.m. So, then I had to, I had to change that because all my work is waking up. Part of my work is waking up at 6, 7 in the morning to go and check on sites. I'm an architect, by the way. I'm a construction manager. So part of my work was to actually wake up early. So I had to change that. So now it's actually whenever I turn off my phone and try to focus on my laptop.
But don't you find that very unfortunate that you have to work during the day, but you're more of a night person? It's very annoying for me, for example.
It's extremely annoying, by the way, especially because during the day, I got a lot of phone calls, I got a lot of things going on, so I can't find the time to actually focus.
You reminded me of something for example, I'm not comparing us to dogs, but dogs basically during the day, their senses are very diminished in a sense, because there's a lot of distraction, obviously with their hypersensitivity, and
Right.
they can hear so well and stuff.
Mhm.
But at night, the reason why they bark all the time is due to the fact that it's so like basically any small sound that could be dangerous or anything of the sort. So I feel like for us, in the same sense, we're not as sensitive as them, but we do get, affected
Distracted.
in that way.
Yes.
Exactly.
Distracted.
The distractions are very, very
Time's
negative,
wasted.
a negative influence on us.
Mhm.
And we can't be able to focus on our actual work due to all of these distractions. I mean, even the sun for sometimes is distracting for me. Like at night, as I call us, there's just like what she to distract me, it's just like focus on that.
That is
But during the day, the sun is like coming in my eyes. Like,
But that's
"Khalas,
what-
haram."
Yeah, it's true. That's why I do like waking up earlier more nowadays, because I do feel like when that moment of in the morning, like between like 5 to 8 a.m., 9 a.m., everyone's asleep. You just have the city and everything.
Exactly.
Do you feel the same? Jim?
I think this is part of us being, I won't say overthinkers, but there's a type of people who think a lot. I'm not gonna say overthinker, because overthinker is labeled as a bad thing, but I'm just gonna say that people that are analyze more and are type of people that thinks a lot. So I think if we're that type of people,
Very
these are the-
attentive people.
Yes, exactly. This is why we unite all, because you kind of try and you have all this sense of calmness and all the sense of the exact same thing in the morning. That's why I wake up between 6 a.m. around 6 a.m. because that's where I feel like that no one's awake. I can actually focus for a couple of hours before all the chaos starts running around. So yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, amazing. That's yeah. Continue.
Yeah. So actually, one of the things that Ali, you've heard about Rebuild Lebanon, and you've interviewed me about it a couple of times. And you have to know that Rebuild Lebanon is actually 10% of my week.
Oh wow.
So,
What are you up to, Joe?
so actually, as I said earlier, I'm an architect and I'm construction
Right.
manager. Who
Mm.
mostly I work in the construction field and the architectural field.
Mhm.
I own my own real estate development company and architectural firm and construction services. So
Oh, I see. Nice.
yeah, so
Busy.
I do have a lot of people that works with me at the office. We have a team of around 8 people, and you have my brother. He's kind of my partner and my brother. So we actually work together on it. Yeah, so
Amazing.
we actually 4 architects in the family. No, actually 5 architects in the family.
When you're
It's like the whole family
That's
just
right.
call us in the same field.
That's amazing. I do have some questions I want to know. First of all, you say that when you're like you do a bunch of different things, right? Like different projects and stuff. Do you feel like your attention is like split between the different things? Are you able to focus on each thing at a time? How are you able to like give it? Because I feel like doing anything is really impossible, especially Rebuild Lebanon is really like impossible what you're trying to do, which is why I think it's really amazing. It's not that it's impossible, sorry, it's really difficult, right? And
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not impossible. Highly improbable,
Yes,
maybe that's the better terminology.
exactly. But it does need focus, is what I'm trying to say, if you're gonna make it work. So how do you do that?
Actually, it was one of my mistakes as a kid. I started working at the age of 15, by the way, and from that age, I used to actually produce a lot of events and festivals and corporate events. I used to have an event company. So I used to have this, I hate that word, but entrepreneurship kind of mindset, trying to open a couple of businesses, small businesses. I had a mini market once. I sold it a year later. I had,
Yeah.
Trust me, man, if I tell you all my background story, you'll laugh at it. I had a factory, plastic factory. I expanded it 3 times and then I sold it again. Sold it to make profit, not sold it because it's running bad. So now I'm opening another factory. So actually, I had these are successful stories, but not successful stories, but good. Yeah, actually successful stories. But you had a lot of businesses that failed, a lot of them, and I lost money through a lot of random small businesses that I tried to do. But
can you share some of these stories? I think people would like to know, like, how people recover from from the negatives in life?
Actually, let me try and say that I went through a lot. When I say that, when you say that, how do you recover from failure? And I start, motivating people to recover from failure. I didn't recover well when I went through it. Some of them took a lot of time to heal from them. Some of them took about a year. And the things that affect your businesses aren't always your businesses. The things that affect your businesses could be a relationship, a harsh breakup. So
Okay,
that's
so personal things, definitely.
exactly. These are a lot of factors that would actually affect your business more than the business itself. Because imagine you had to wake up each morning at 7 a.m. to go to let's say a construction site, and then one day you break up with your let's say 3 years old relationship. How do you wake up at 7 a.m.?
Where do you get the motivation for it?
You won't even be able to get the motivation for it. That's the problem. It's really hard to do that. And to be honest, I was extremely lucky to be born in an extremely good family and supportive family. And I hate talking about this, but let's say from a actually good, fortunate, how do we say that? Like we have the money needed to actually survive.
Right. Yes.
So
yes.
I didn't need to work at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine waking up with no motivation, knowing that you don't even need to go to do that, to actually take the action to build yourself a business. You don't need to do it, because you can actually live for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years if you're fortunate enough, and you won't need to build a new business because you already have your family's background.
Right.
So all of these factors play a big role in not giving you the motivation needed.
Yeah, but the mentality is very important, and I'm assuming that's what you had, because you started working at 15. So the mentality is what motivates the person in the first place. When he has this mentality where he has to work and earn his own money, not to be reliant on his family or his parents, that in itself is motivation. And it creates this entrepreneurial mentality, which you mentioned, although you didn't want to talk about it, but it is actually a very good thing, because when you have these constant, when you're like this entrepreneurial person, you constantly come with innovative ideas or creative investments or anything of the sort that can propel you to success. And that's honestly, that's definitely a mentality people should be seeking nowadays, since we talked about this in a previous episode when we were talking about the education system. So in the education system, they don't teach us to be this way. They don't teach us to be innovative or creative or to think outside the box. They just teach us how to work in the 9-to-5 job, which really takes away from our motivation,
right,
and our initiative to create things. And this is definitely something we need more.
I agree with that.
And the motivation shouldn't be actually making your own money more than actually the success story and the achievement that you've made. A lot of businesses that I've made, or a lot of projects that I took, had zero to barely any profit. When I started with the construction business, my own construction company, I used to take projects that would make me, let's say, $1,000 profit during 3 months. That's nothing. That's like $300 per month.
Right. Yeah.
So I used to take a lot of these small projects, but these small projects helped me build, first of all, my team. So I was able to train my team to work on these projects, and then gave me a lot of experience, and helped me buy most of the equipments that I have. I used to take out all my profits to buy equipment. This is how I grew from starting to renovating a small kitchen house, and then renovating facades, and then renovating a whole building, and then starting with the construction of concrete, and then mechanical, and then electrical. So I was getting trained from one construction site to another construction site, most of them which I didn't do any profits.
Amazing. Yeah.
So
Yes.
So it's not about focusing on, and this
Money.
we have
Right.
to say that to a lot of the young people that are starting nowadays. You don't look for the profit in your first project. You look for the achievements. You look for the portfolio. You have to build. You have to put your name in the market.
Damn.
You have to be competitive and put your name in the market. You have to take a lot of projects with zero to barely some of the profits.
Wow, Joe. Thanks for sharing that. That's really good. That's really good stuff. I still want you to answer my question, Joe. This is something that I struggle with it. Hey,
No problem.
I'm like
Sorry.
you, dude. I do have an entrepreneurial mindset, and I do like doing many different projects, right? Filmmaking and this and other things I'm doing. But kind of, I feel like if I'm not giving something 100%, I feel like I'm just stuck. Nothing's really developing until the periods where I'm giving it 100%. So, so how do you build these things? Do you split your time? How do you do it?
No, as I said earlier, I had this problem a lot when I was a kid. I used to open different channels and then not focusing on one and then not being able to succeed at any of them. Then I noticed that to be able to, when you have this mindset, your mindset and mine, to work on different projects, it's because of one reason. It's because we don't want to waste our time and want to actually be as productive as possible and do a lot. You have a lot of these projects and you feel like you don't have much time for them. You feel like I want to complete them in a year. I want all of these projects to be done in a year because I have bigger projects in mind as well. So what I figured out was you need an income. Okay. You need a stable income and a passive income. Once you build a stable business and a passive income business, that's how you start to fund the other businesses and to be able to delegate and actually hire people to work on the other businesses.
Right.
That's how and even if you don't have a passive income, not every business could get you a passive income, and most of the passive income businesses are hard to maintain.
Right.
And they're not even, you can't call them passive incomes and go to sleep and think that they'll get you, you'll have profit every month while you're sleeping. It's not that how it works. But at least, let's say you did a big project and you got a good enough income. That's when you could use this money to invest in people that would help you work on other projects.
I see.
And that's what I've been doing as well. I only hire people depending on the contracts I get.
Mm-hmm.
If I get a contract that, let's say, sorry for talking numbers, but that we're giving random numbers. Right. Let's say I got a project for $20,000. Okay. And I know that the project would take me 3 months to work on. Okay. So I actually hire people for a 3 months contract to help me with the project. I'm talking about an architectural project. I hire 3 people for, let's say, $1,000 per month, and then you can get the project done with $6,000. This is where you can focus on other things. You get these people to work on the project. You focus on them. You should monitor them. You should follow up with them, and then you focus on something else. But you have to put the foundations of the first project that you're working on. You have to at least sign or get the first payment of the first business that you're working on, or else everything else is useless.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, that's really helpful, Joe. I'll definitely, because exactly. Just at least with this show, I do just want us to be able to be known in the market, right? I really care
once you put in your mind that the second project won't work unless you finish the first one, that's when you focus on the first one and then the second one, then the third one. Yeah,
I agree. You need to specialize more when you're dealing with a project. You can't just jump from one to another, because there's a steep learning curve when you're trying to figure out what you need to do. If you're trying to grow a channel, it's going to get complex the more you continue. And if you don't dedicate more time to think about it and more time to break down the problems that you're facing and more time to look at the analytics, you're going to have a tough time trying to plan your next move if you're trying to do everything simultaneously. When you cut down a bit, you can figure out the next move.
Right.
The problem is it's easy to say and it's easy to talk about that, but if you have the same mindset that Ali and I have actually, it's much harder. It's much harder to work on that. It's much harder to actually say, okay, let me focus on that and then switch to another one. It's super hard to do that because our mind works like, you want to do everything. Yeah, but you have to start somewhere. And you know, one of the things that helped me, and now I just remembered that one of the things that helped me is actually getting a mentor, by the way, and a mentor that's a lot older than you. When I say a lot older than you, I mean around 38 years old, and actually 38, 40 years old, 45 years old. These guys are serious about these guys don't have enough time anymore. So let's say two of my partners actually with the same company that I work with, not the one that I just talked about. We have an investment company, real estate investment company, and two of my partners are actually 37 years old, around 37 years old. One of them is getting married, and the second one is one of them is about to get married in May, and another one is actually almost getting married, so maybe in a year or so. So these guys are extremely serious about their life now. You know, get your mindset close to theirs, or work with them. Whenever you lose time, or whenever you postpone things, they always, or whenever you come up with new things, like as an investor. Hey guys, I think I got a call or something. Am I still here?
Yes, you're still here.
So
yeah. The mentorship.
Perfect. So what I was saying was, I actually, what I did was, as an investment company, you always have to come up with new ideas for your investors, right? So whenever I come up with new ideas for investors and stuff, and I call them and I'm like, okay, guys, I have a new idea. Let's do that in Spain, or let's do that in Lebanon, let's do that somewhere. The very first response that I get from them, Joe, let's finish with what we have, and then we move on to the second project. And I'm like, okay, but this project is already running. Let's start with the second one.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay, it's already running. It's 30 stages. Let's make sure it's stable, and let's make sure it's functioning, and then we move to the second one. Although I do feel bad, I do like, okay, guys, I'm talking about a really serious and important project. They won't listen to it. They're like, keep it for yourself. Do the study if you want to do it. Keep it by the side. Let's focus on the first one, and then move to the second one. It's hard for me to do it. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to actually have someone that would push you to do that.
Push me to do that. No. That does make sense. That is true. All right, gotcha. That's cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that we do talk to people of all like ages and stuff. I do notice it when we have like older people on, we get some great advice. And there's something else I do want to ask you about, Joe. You mentioned that your whole family is architects and you work with your brother and stuff. I just want to ask, how do you separate like family and business, pretty much?
It's hard to do that, and it was even harder at first stage. It's like, let's say, okay, now we're talking in public, so if my brother watch that.
I'm sorry. We can cut anything after this. We can cut anything and say something. Yeah.
It's enough. What I want to say is sometimes, and that's not always my brother, it could be me as well. Sometimes we delegate the work. We say, okay, Charlie, you do that, and I'll do that. Okay. Let's say the client needs it on Friday, and my brother kept on postponing it, or actually didn't have the time to do it for different excuses. Whether he was tired, whether he was not motivated, especially in this current situation. You can't be motivated enough with everything's going around in Lebanon. So yeah, sometimes he gets things delayed, and gets things that would actually affect our work and affect our trust with the client. Because I am known of being quick, and I'm known of delivering my work quickly. So at a certain point, I had to actually take off the project from his hands, hire someone, and pay him. When I wasn't paying my brother, he used to take a percentage. Yeah, my brother he's a partner. Yeah. So I had to hire someone, pay him, get the job done, and then deliver it. So you have to be harsh. You have to show him that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to show him that when I need the job done, it needs to get done. Mm-hmm. It needs to be done. So yeah, this is how you have to separate work from family. You have to know when your family is dragging you down. It could be me, by the way. I
Could be
dragged
me.
them down.
Right.
The fact that I was tired, but you have to know when whoever is doing it, you or your brother, they have to know that they should pull you off when you're tired. It's like having Messi playing on the field, and then Messi is not doing anything. You have to know when to take him off. You know, even if he's Messi, you have to know that he's failing you. You have to take him off,
Right.
and not
Right.
have the feeling, the emotional. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. No, I know. I got you. No, I got you. Because yeah, I mean, it's true. That's great. That's a great answer. Because something I also think about. Because I like to work with my brother also, but it's something. It's like delegation and actually getting work done. That's kind of how you make things happen. And you don't really want to be like, hey, time to do work right now.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So
I want to ask you.
you have to put work first.
Right. I want to ask you, Said and Amir, I guess, since you guys are my friends, not my brother or stuff like that. But how do you guys feel like about like mixing like friendship and whatever work, whatever this podcast is? I don't know.
Friendship with work. Am I going to answer the question or someone else? Me? It's
Don't
me.
know why, but it's freezing for me.
Oh, I'm
Can
lagging.
you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Amir. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, and I work with my brother as well. I work as an engineer with my brother. Who I do this podcast with you. I have another podcast that I work with. Tea time. It's also with another couple of friends. So I do work with friends and family quite a bit, pretty much, all the time. And I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Actually, I think sometimes it makes the communication easier.
Mm-hmm.
You can really be clear with how you prefer to work. Some people prefer to work in strange ways. Like I'm one of those people. I don't really necessarily work in a very systematic way, but I'll get the work done. Whatever needs to be done, I'll get it done. But people need to understand that. Okay, I work in a certain way, and it's easy for me to be direct with my friends and family, but I don't feel the same level of comfort when I'm speaking to a client or someone outside of the family. So I find it to be easier, better. Another thing is, it depends on the friend and the family, but I mind picking up the slack of a friend occasionally and then picking up the slack for me. I feel more hostile towards someone that I'm not too comfortable with. No,
Right.
You have to get your shit straight. But when it's a friend and they make a mistake, I'm more patient. I'm more willing to actually useful pointers. I feel I lose this patience if I don't like the person as much, which is not a good quality on my end, but it is what it is, right?
Sorry, I disconnected when you were asking a question, Ali. Can you repeat?
Tell us about like working with your friends, pretty much. How's that working out for you? Do you like it? I guess we're not really working, but it's
With you guys?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, with you guys, it's fun, man. We're not. I mean, the work isn't hectic. It hasn't reached that level yet. So that's. I mean, I guess that's what's making it easy. But if you want, I can draw examples, for example, from group projects and from volunteer work that I've done. For example, when I was in Red Cross, when I am still in Red Cross, when I was president, I mean that had a lot of, that had a lot of people where they would just fail you. So basically, we were a big. And I don't know. I guess I'm bad mouthing a few people. I'm not gonna name drop. So,
name drop.
Don't do that. We were committed.
No.
I'm not gonna name drop. But if they watch this, they'll definitely know it's them.
All right.
So we were six committee members, and I was the president. And basically, we were running on. So 2 of us were working. 2.5 of us were working. Like the whole year, give or take.
Right. So.
And towards the end of the year for us, it became only me. It became only me, and I lived almost the furthest. I lived like the second furthest from the actual branch, and it became like a burden for me. And That's why when my term ended, I did not renew, because to be honest, I kind of had enough. But it's not because I quit. It's because for future, like the future generations to take over. Let it be a new slate.
Yes.
I didn't want them to have someone from the previous generation pose that thing on them.
All right.
And it worked out fine, to be honest. People still remind me about it. I know the coordinator still wants me to come back, but
it's heartbreaking, right? It's heartbreaking. It's disappointment. I want to know how, Joe, I'm curious about you, right?
I mean, it's not only that.
Yes.
It's not only that, but you have to see when you can finally drop something. You want to do a project, but once you know you're done with it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not going anywhere.
Not yeah. Like, خلاص, you've had you're progressing from there. So you want to know when you can actually drop it.
Yeah. That's true.
I feel like maybe you and Joe can comment on that, since you work on a lot of projects.
Yeah, I do.
You want to talk about working with friends?
No, yeah, sure. You can tell us.
No, about when can you say I'm done with this project?
Well, when can you say? Excuse me. What was that?
Sorry. When can you say like this is enough? Like I'm done with this project. When can you let go?
When it's draining you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is worth it. Nothing is worth draining you. If it's draining you with no results, that's when you quit your project. Draining you as in it's toxic, but you should not confuse draining you with hard work. That's a huge problem. Not your case. Your case, I totally understand your case, and you're right to quit, by the way. And it's really good to see people actually quit high positions, even if it's high as a president of a Red Cross branch or club. I still consider it as a high position because you had a lot of responsibilities. So it's really cool to see people actually quit these positions to give new blood their opportunity to actually do something. But in other kind of projects, when you shouldn't confuse, and we're talking about with the viewers, not with you actually. We're not with you specifically. So So I'm giving like a random example. You shouldn't confuse projects that are draining you with hard work on projects. Not every time you bump into an obstacle or any kind of. Every time we talk about let's say a business idea, or every time we talk about any of my work, and they're like, no, these days clients don't pay you anymore. These kind of businesses require a lot of contracts. No one will stick to their word, or this is too hard to do, or whatever they say. What do they expect? Do they expect to have like a ongoing flow and an easy operation in business? Nothing is easy. It's nothing. If you want to open a small mini market, I had one of my worst experiences when I had my mini market. It's one of the most of the draining businesses. One of the most draining businesses. It's a mini market. You wouldn't imagine a mini market being that hard to do, but it is. But what I see, what I always notice in every single businesses that I've done, all of them have the same structure. You have a supplier, you have a manufacturer, you have different components that all you have to do is actually combine them.
Right.
So the most important thing is to have good communication. If you know how to communicate with these different factors, this is how you get your job done or your business done. There's always someone for something. You could, if you want to, let's say, sell iPhone covers, you're gonna talk with a designer and then open your marketing front, whether it's an Instagram page or a website or anything that's you. So you have a marketing front. You need the brand design, brand identity. You have the product that you want to do. So a manufacturer, a product designer, and then that's it for an iPhone cover. So you have these different components.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are different components. Imagine that you don't know any of them, or you don't know how to do any of them. You don't know how to design. you'll get a designer. You don't know how to open an Instagram page or manage social media, you get someone who does it. So actually, every single business has the same components. You have a supplier, a manufacturer, the same thing to produce an event. To produce an event, you need a team, you need a supplier, you need you need to design it, you need a marketing front, as I said, Instagram page or whatever. So exact same thing for a construction field, construction site. Whether it's a small one or a big one, you need a supplier for the goods, you need the workers that are working, you need your team. If you want to brand it, you need the brand identity. So it's the same exact structure, but it gets bigger and harder with time. So the things that make your work hard are people. Think of every single problem you've ever had. It's not the business, it's the people in it. It's a supplier who's delivering the goods late. It's the workers that are not doing their jobs good. It's your team that's not delivering. It's never your business. It's the people that work in it, or the different factors. So you have to know who to pick, and you have to know that you have to substitute them whenever you need to. I've changed a lot of my, I hate to call them employees, a lot of people in my team, I've changed them many times. I had to change a lot of people. Every time one of them is lacking a lot, I try to fix it. I try to talk to him. I try to not get him, not make him leave. Let's say, I don't want to use the fired word. I hate it. So, but at the end, you have to, because he's the one that's making your business fail or lack. You have to change him. So, and when it comes to that, let me get back to your question. When you say that, how do you work with a friend? One of the things that you should learn when you work with a friend is to actually know what you're good at and what he's good at, and make him take the decision that he's good at, and you take the decision that you're good at. If you're the engineer in your team and he's the businessman in your team, let him take the financial and business decisions. Okay, well, you should communicate about it. You both give your opinions, but let him have the say and take the responsibility of it, and you take the engineering side. So you have to know the qualities of each part, and never team up with someone with the same skills. That's useless. Extremely useless.
Yes.
Extremely useless. That's teaming up with him just because he's your friend, not as a business partner.
Amazing.
See, so you have to look.
By the way, Joe, I have a question for you as well. So you were talking about how when you had to release people from your team. So in this case, when you're making your team, what kind of approach do you have towards your team? Do you have this friendly approach where you want to befriend them, or do you basically keep it business the whole time? Because for me, for example, when I wanna cut off someone, even if they're a friend, I don't mind telling them, like, I don't know, even though you're my friend, please leave. Like, you're harming me now.
It's much harder for me. It's much harder for me. I'm an emotional person, so like, let's say Ali. Okay, me and Ali, we saw each other on a video call like a couple of times only, but I now consider him as a friend.
No, you're my friend. Of course, my friend. Yes,
so
I love it.
So actually, like, I do have a connection with Ali now, even though it's a couple of times. So I do have that with the people that I find genuine, with the people that I like. So so actually, and I know maybe most of you have it as well. So I do have. It's much harder for me to do that, but I've learned that with first of all, to answer your question, I do have a friendly approach to them, just to keep the communication going, because they have to communicate with you, but you have to show them that your business is what you care about. You have to tell them, you have to introduce your company, introduce yourself to them like that. One of the things that I did a couple of days ago, I was hiring a subcontractor to one of my construction sites, and it's one of my my lifetime real estate development projects that I'm doing. And a lot of investors are counting on me. My partners are counting on me, since I'm the engineer in my team. So they had the chief architect and the chief engineer. So the first thing that I told them, you're my friend. I love you. I love your work. I want you to work with me. But I'm telling you from now, his job is for around 2 months. So I'm signing a contract with him as a subcontractor for a 2-month job. I told him, as soon as I see you lacking, I'll have to cut you off.
Right.
I told him, I'm not threatening you. I'm not telling you that I will cut you off. All I'm saying is I care way too much about my project that even if you're my brother, I'll have to cut you off so that my work keeps on going.
Right.
And you've done it with your own brother as well. So that's another example.
Exactly. I had to do it because you have to tell them that the project is extremely important for me, and you'll forgive me in a week or two, but I'll lose my clients.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
So,
You can be friendly with them all the time and stuff during to create this nice environment in the workplace. But when it comes to like the decisions, the stern decision where you have to think of for the sake of the business, definitely you have to just make the right decision and not think in an emotional, subjective way. You have to keep an objective mind.
One of the things that everyone tells me is that, Joe, you're way too kind, and they will take advantage of this. They'll think that you don't care much. But this is one of the things that I say as well. Don't take my kindness for stupidity.
Right.
And I'm extremely knowledgeable in my business. I'm extremely skillful. I know what you're doing. I'm just giving it to you because I don't have time to do it. So don't play with me. Don't try to rush it out, because I'll know what's wrong and what's correct in it. So I'll have to kick you out when I see the wrong in it. So don't lose your job, or don't lose the job that I gave you, because eventually you will if you take me for a stupid person. And I do say that, by the way. I became extremely honest with that, just so that they notice that I'm really kind, I'm really friendly, but I'm not stupid. One of the things, by the way, I used to be a kind of, these students in school and college, the students that, skip class, the clown, the clown in the class and all of that.
Yeah, but who cares about school, right? I mean, that's not
exactly.
School is like exactly what we've been saying. That's not helping us.
Exactly. So when I used to be this in school, I used to hide my homeworks, not doing my homeworks in a good way, trying to اتذاكى على الأستاذ أو اتذاكى على
Yes. What do you think? I'm stupid?
Yeah. So the first thing that I tell them is, I used to do that. Don't do that to me. I used to do that. You won't be able to hide it on me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
As a general rule, I like to think, if you're going to hire someone, if you're going to work with someone in a team, he should be able to do the task you assign at least better than you know how to do it. Way better than you know how to do it. If he's doing it at the same level, then it's not worth the hire even. Like, he needs to be able to do it better.
Yes, actually, yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. All right.
And
amazing. Well, I do want to say, Joe, we are really out of time. We haven't spent an hour here. We've been going on for a while. But I'm so happy you dropped in. This is really amazing. Yeah.
Yes, we really had a lot of fun. So
yeah,
I always love to hop in your podcast. So
sounds good, man. No, it's great to see you, Joe. Great to see you, Joe. And good luck rebuilding Lebanon and all your other
Thank you,
projects.
man. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you too. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. All right, let's sign out here. All right, and peace. Woo.
Bye, guys.
Amazing. Look at that.